Well, good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Brigadier Matthew Pearce. We warmly welcome the family of Private Harry Robertson, whose story will be told shortly by Brigadier Pearce, who is Private Robertson's great-nephew-in-law. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors and students on behalf of the National Youth Science Forum. I invite you all to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If you're able to be seated, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Harry Robertson. Harry Robertson was born in Queanbeyan in 1896, the eldest of 9 children to Edward and Elizabeth Robertson, who grew up at the Oaks in Queanbeyan, attended Queanbeyan Public School and was a member of the Sunday School at St Stephen's Presbyterian Church. In January 1916, at the age of 19, Harry Robertson travelled to Goulburn to enlist in the Australian Imperial Force under the name Henry Robertson. Also known by the nickname Bruiser by his family and friends, he was allotted to reinforcements of the 55th Battalion, which had been recently raised in Egypt as part of doubling of the AIF that took place after the failed Gallipoli campaign. Harry Robertson embarked for service on the 4th of September 1916. He landed in Plymouth late the following month, and on the 14th of December he continued on to France, where he joined his battalion. The 55th Battalion had fought its first major battle at Fromelles in July. The battle was a disaster, resulting in heavy casualties. After a freezing winter manning trenches in the Somme Valley in early 1917, the 55th Battalion participated in an advance that followed the German retreat to the Hindenburg Line. On the 1st of April, the battalion prepared to attack the village of Douanier. At midnight, it was in position on the sunken road, resting until 4:15 a.m. in the morning, when Robertson and his unit moved forward to the jumping-off point. A few minutes later, the men began moving forward. 3 companies advanced following the 56th Battalion. Private Robertson was in the middle company. At about 5:20 a.m, the company on Robertson's right disturbed a dog, which began barking and gave the alarm. Rifle and machine gun fire started coming from a nearby beetroot factory and trenches in the area. As the advance continued, rifle and machine gun fire came heavily from the village, along with the beginning of intermittent artillery fire. The village was captured by sunrise on the 2nd of April, but the enemy shelled the battalion's new position throughout the day. A number of military medals and military crosses were awarded to men of the battalion for their action during the attack, but Harry Robertson would not be among them. He had been killed in action during the attack. His remains were buried nearby Le Bouquier Communal Cemetery. He was 20 years old. On Sunday, the 6th of May, a memorial service was held at St Stephen's Church in Queanbeyan. A large crowd of people who attended listened to the words of a preacher speaking in front of a pulpit draped in the Union Jack. These brave fellows who hazarded their lives on the great battlefields of France are the truest patriots, since the truest patriot will give their life for the cause. It was in such spirit that Christ himself, the greatest patriot the world has ever seen, lived and died, and surely that is the spirit which he must approve and love. In the following month, Private Apps, another soldier from Queanbeyan, sent home trophies that he'd gathered from the field during the capture of Bullecourt. He remarked that the items, a German officer's helmet and cover, along with a small crucifix that had been worn by the German, had been gathered on the field during the capture of Bullecourt, near where Harry Robertson was buried. Harry Robertson's name is listed on the Roll of Honour to my right among 62,000 Australians who died serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Harry Bruiser Robertson, who gave his life for us, our freedoms, and the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.